Hey, what's going on, guys? Jack Kellogg here. And today I'm going to go over something very special. I'm going to share with you how I made over $6 million in the first 6 months of 2021 trading meme stocks and OTC penny stocks. This year was absolutely out of this world with trading opportunities. If you haven't been following, the overall stock market has just been on a roar since the COVID crash back in March and April of 2020. I started day trading in 2017 and 2018, and it wasn't all $6 million in 6 months right away. I've been through a lot to get where I am, and if you're not familiar with my journey, please go back and watch some of my older YouTube videos and see when I was only making 10, 20,000 a month, and that was in 2020. So there has been a huge jump since around November, December of 2020. Today is actually September 4th, 2021. So it is 3 months after June 2021. And I'm just making this video because I absolutely burnt myself to a crisp the first 6 months of the year. And I took a lot of time off these past 3 months. But I'm finally feeling better, feeling energized, feeling passionate about trading again because it takes a real toll on you to go your absolute hardest and leave nothing on the field, nothing in the market. I put every ounce of energy I had into this game. And as you guys can see from my P&L tab here, there isn't one big trade that made me my $6 million. Dollars. I have created a process over the past 4 years doing my due diligence, tracking data, experiencing the market, and I have created this process that allowed me to really scale up when the liquidity and dollar volume was in the markets at the beginning of this year. My biggest trade is just over a little over $250,000 on TSNP in February of 2021, and I only have one other trade over 200,000, and that was in June on AMC. So today I'm going to go over some of my statistics, and then I'm going to get into my three favorite patterns that I use to create the 6 million in profits. Then I'm going to end with my mindset on everything and how I reached this point. So to jump right into it, this is all of my trades in the first 6 months of the year from largest gain to largest loss. And if you look, it's actually under 1,000 trades, 927 trades it took me to make $6 million. dollars. So scroll back up to the top. I'll briefly talk about some of the data on this sheet. So this is just very basic information. As I said, I traded a lot of OTC stocks. As you can see here, it's mainly OTC on this left column. And if you want the exact number, I trade over 80% OTC to NASDAQ ratio. Now I still trade about 20% on the NASDAQ side, but it's not really what I'm consider myself a master in. I consider myself one of the greatest OTC traders in this era that is public and shares their stuff openly. There is probably a lot of guys that don't share anything that are a lot better than me at OTC, but I am fully transparent. I post all my trades on Profitly. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description where I post every single one of my trades verified. So for all you guys that say I'm fake or this isn't real, this is real. This is 100% real. So these are my tickers that are my best, and as you can see, a lot of them are the same tickers. And actually a little bit later into the video, I will show you guys the charts and explain the patterns that I traded on these. I have a couple different brokers. I use E-Trade and Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading for short selling, they're a great broker, very good customer service. E-Trade is the best broker for OTC longs, in my honest opinion. If you're a US citizen, That is what I use. I'm not being paid anything to say that. That is just personally what I have found to be the best suited for me. I go long and short. I am not a biased trader at all. I like going both sides. I've actually made a little bit more money on the long side than the short side in my career. These are the trades that I made. If you guys want to pause the video, you can go look through all my trades here with my entries and exits, my P&L, and then this is just tracking data to get these statistics over here. So this, I want to explain really quick. This is my risk to reward ratio. So if my average loss is $4,500 on the year, this trade is 57 times that number. So my best trade, I made 57 times my average loss. And my average profit is about $12,000. So my risk to reward ratio isn't amazing. It's really good. I make over double what I lose, and it's actually a 2.62 if you're looking for the exact number, but it's not like I'm making 5 or 10 times what I risk on an average trade. Like a lot of people swear by you should make 3x what you're risking, and that's what I try to keep my stats around. So getting into these statistics now, my average position size is much bigger than my average losing position size, and that is key. You cannot be sizing into a loser and hoping that you're going to get out of it for a win. I will only size into my winners because that's what I have the right read on. And I was actually discussing this with a few friends earlier today, and we were talking about how it's so key to go full size on your winners and not try to add to your losers. Actually, my number one rule is to cut my losses quickly and intelligently. So my average losing position size is actually only 200,000 is my average dollar that I put into the stock when I lose, and when I win, I have on average over $1 million in the stock. Now, give or take, I take a lot of day trades during the day, so it adds up because these are my trades on the stock combined. So if I take, multiple $100,000 stabs during the day, I take it 10 times, it's going to be $1 million. But it just shows you if I'm losing on the day, I'm going to stop trading that ticker very quickly. But if I'm winning on the day, I'm going to keep trading it because it's 500 times. I use 500 times more size on my winners. So that's what's key to take from that. Like I said, I trade OTC 80% of the time, and my NASDAQ and listed, it's not bad. If you see, my profit factor is actually a 16, and my win percent is 74 on NASDAQ. So it is much better than my OTC statistics, but that's only because I'm so particular with which NASDAQs I'm going to trade because I know how dangerous NASDAQ can be. I could wipe out all of my gains on NASDAQ, and I could in OTC too, but it's a lot harder in OTC because there's not that much liquidity to go all in for me. But you could go all in on NASDAQ and you could wipe out all your gains. So I'm very particular because I don't want to fall into these big wins and big losses that a lot of NASDAQ traders and listed traders like to make. I like to stick with OTC. I have made over double the amount from in OTC from NASDAQ, and my win percent is about 67. So my win percent is about 5 or 6% lower, and my profit factor is a lot less. It's only a 4, and this is a 16, so my NASDAQ profit factor is 4 times as bigger. And it's just something to note. It's because I do have a few really large losses in OTC, but in NASDAQ, I'm not trading it as much. If I did trade NASDAQ as much, I think I would have a lot larger losses. And moving into my long versus short, like I was telling you, I made most of my money this first half of the year trading on the long side, double than the short side. My win percent is actually only a 66. So I win about 2/3 of my trade, and on the short side, I win about 3/4 of my trades on the short side. And I know a lot of you guys are like, why are your numbers smaller if they're better on the opposite? Like, I trade OTCs and I go long and my numbers like are smaller than my shorts and my Nasdaq trades. But like I said, that's just because I'm so particular in what I'm going to trade, and if I'm going to take a bad trade, it's probably going to be an OTC and it's probably going to be long. So overall win percent 68, and my overall P&L over $6 million. That means I'm averaging $1 million per month the first 6 months of the year, and I'm averaging 250,000 per week. And if you do that math, that's 50,000 per day. Now, let that sink in. I averaged 50,000 per day for 6 months straight, trading OTC penny stocks and NASDAQ stocks. It just absolutely blows my mind that you can make this amount of money in this untapped niche, in my opinion. There's not many people doing this. Nobody that I know from my personal life ever even thought about day trading. They just go to college, they get a normal job. Guess what? I'm making salaries every other day, and I'm making a decent salary every day. It's just absolutely crazy to me. So now to get into some of my trades and some of my patterns. So I'm going to go over my 3 favorite patterns, guys. Are you guys ready for this? Here they are. So there's 3 patterns, and I'm going to briefly describe to you what I look for in the mindset of the trade. So the first trade that I'm looking for is the swing trade. And there are a few things that fundamentally drive these trades where it's not all about the chart pattern. Whereas these two patterns are more about the chart pattern. So with the swing trade, I'm looking for a hot sector, right? There's been a lot of hot sectors this past year with coronavirus stocks, with electric vehicle stocks, with cannabis stocks, with crypto stocks. So what I'm looking for are these penny stocks, ideally the lowest price possible. Like I love swing trading stocks that are underneath a penny because the upside potential is huge compared to the risk. And you're able to make, a few hundred to 1,000%. And I've personally made 1,000% a few times, and I made a lot of 500, 600, 700% trades with this strategy. So pay attention because this is actually one of my favorite strategies to trade when it's working because it's so much fun when you make 10x your money on a trade. So now to get into the technical standpoint, I'm looking for that hot sector and I'm looking for some sort of catalyst driven move for the first initial pop. So the stock goes up and then I'm keeping it on watch for it to create some sort of base down here with sustained volume. And if it does create this base, then I'm looking for a big move upwards because people remember this and it's holding very well, so it usually creates another run. So if I'm able to buy in here on the dips into the support level and risk down here, I'm able to create this massive risk to reward situation where I'm getting in here, I'm risking the support level, and my upside is unlimited. And especially with these low price stocks, they love to run multiple hundreds of percent, like I was saying. And now getting into the breakout trades. So the breakout trades are a little bit different. They're kind of like the swing trade, but with the breakout trades, I'm looking for a stock that is probably more expensive, where it's between like a penny to 10 cents to $1, even multiple dollars a share. I will take this pattern with a swing trade. I'm looking primarily specifically for stocks underneath a penny. So the breakout, I'm looking for when it breaks over these highs, I'm looking for taking a smaller piece of the move. So I'm looking to buy somewhere in here and risk this support level instead of trying to anticipate it. So that's the key difference between these two strategies is I'm buying the breakout and I'm taking a more conservative trade rather than trying to, hit the entire home run. And you may ask, why do I do this? Because I'm not just going to buy every single stock in the market, and some of these might not be in a hot sector, so it's just not as obvious to me. Swing trades, I do a lot of research on to figure out what my favorite are, but I will play any technical breakout and try to capitalize on a nice single or double. And the breakouts are actually my most profitable strategy this year. And that is because there were so many of them and they were working so well. And then my last strategy is Max Euphoria. And this strategy is basically once they do make these huge runs, you're like, what next? Do they keep going up? Do they ever pull back? Well, guess what, guys? Stocks don't go straight up and they don't go straight down. So they are going to pull back at some point. And once it reaches the top up here, then I'm looking to short sell. And if you don't know what short sell is, pause the video right now and Google what is short selling. So I'm going to short the stock up here and buy to cover on this massive crash. And this is a great opportunity because it's very high odds win percent because stocks aren't going to go straight up, but once they do go straight up, there's going to be a pullback. And this is the pullback I'm looking to capitalize on. And then once it does crash, there's usually a big inefficiency because so many people are selling. So then you get a nice bounce upward, and then you're able to trade this bouncy ball type momentum. And this is the strategy that I traded to make $6 million in 6 months. All it was just trading these human emotions patterns that repeat over and over again. So I had to pull this chart up for you guys. This is actually the exact pattern that I trade, right? Where I'm looking for the swing trade somewhere in this sideways action where the smart money and the institutional money is getting in, but I'm doing it on a smaller scale in these penny stocks. And then here is the breakout when it's, in the mania phase, and you have to look for a quicker trade since you're technically not buying it at the very bottom. So it's harder to hold. If it does turn, you're not really sure when the top's going to be in. But once it does top, this is what I'm saying, when it has that big pullback and the bounce and then keeps on collapsing. And as you can see, if you want to pause the screen right here and read off all the emotions, and then you'll understand why this happens over and over and over again. And these patterns have been happening for multiple decades, ever since humans have been trading. Because we all are very emotional when you think about it. We all have the same emotions. We all want to make money. We all want to get in on the next stock. And you know this is just a supply and demand type game. So once the demand isn't there anymore and it's so expensive and the valuation is so high, it's going to crash, and then everybody that has been buying it is going to sell, and that's what creates that movement to the downside. So those are my favorite three patterns that I used to make all of my money, and it's the process that I've been talking about, what I've been doing for 3 or 4 years. So now to get into some of my trades, I'm going to talk about these on a chart, of an actual chart of these stocks, but I'm just going to briefly describe it. TSNP was a breakout trade for me. AMC was Max Euphoria, and these trades, I got two chances at the Max Euphoria pattern with AMC. OZSC was a panic dip buy. This was a breakout on AMC. AMC was actually my best taker. I made over $1 million on AMC. AMC, this was another Max Euphoria pattern, so I did really, really well on it. In this stretch, I actually made $1 million in 4 days on AMC. HIPH and BBRW were two swing trades. I put around $10,000, $15,000 into these stocks, and I was able to make 10x that, and I will show you guys exactly what the chart looks like. Window created the Max Euphoria pattern like 3 times, and I'll show you how I was able to capitalize on it each time. And OZSC, this was a breakout, great trade. BANT was a swing trade, and TGGI was a swing trade as well. And as you can see, you see I'm playing multiple fractions of a penny, 3 zeros before the first number. And those were the patterns that I traded. And now I'm actually going to go as far, and I'm going to show you the exact numbers. So if I go into pattern performance, as you can see, the OTC breakout, I made $1.2 million on, and the dip buy I've made $725,000 on, the swing trade $940,000, and then all of these right here, this is just different names, but this is for the Max Euphoria pattern. I've made a lot of money on it in OTC and in NASDAQ, over $1 million. And the breakout on the listed side, another 200K, and then the dip buy 300K. So those are my main strategies. And now I'm going to go into the charts, guys. I'm going to show you exactly what the charts were. So here is AMC, and all these charts look very similar. As you can see, they all spike up big and then they all pull back, like I was showing you with, these patterns. Now look at this and look at these charts, guys, right? So this is the Max Euphoria pattern, where it did have a breakout, and I did capitalize on this breakout um, over 20 and over 37. But as you can see, this stock spiked straight up for multiple days, and then I'm looking for that pullback day, and I nailed it this day, and usually it will keep fading off, right? But this stock held and had a massive move to the upside, doubling again, and then it eventually hit the top and it dwindled off after creating multiple higher lows. And GME as well did the same exact thing. This stock was absolutely wild. As you can see, the volatility was just unreal, from 20 bucks all the way up to 500 in just a week or two. And it created this day with massive range, hitting a low of 110 from 500. So it moved quite literally like 500 points that day, like up and down. It was just absolutely wild. I wish I personally went bigger that day, but I was a little timid because I just didn't understand what was happening that day. So these are just absolutely Max Euphoria Wall Street bets. Thank you so much for running this up, guys. Like, it was just absolutely unreal to witness. It was so, so cool. Moving on now to the swing trades. So like I was saying, here's the first pop, and this is actually a shrooms play, and shrooms got really, really hot. And as you can see, this, is significantly under a penny. And it was creating that base like I was talking about. So I started buying in here, and it actually just did this massive 10x move, and I sold out from around a penny and a half, a little bit higher. And it was just an absolutely unreal trade. It was so, so fun to be a part of. And here's TGGI, which was really cool. A lot of patience on this one. This one was actually a very small pop right here, and not many people were watching this. But I saw the company was a weed company, and I saw that they were trying to go current. They were trying to become legit. So I bought it down here at around 0.0006. And when it did pop, I only sold very small because I had a feeling that this was going higher. And I was able to hold through this dip and sell out the rest of my shares towards a penny. And it topped perfectly at a penny. It was a great trade. It took a couple months, so it took a lot of patience. Moving on to HMBL, my biggest trade, which was a breakout. And as you can see, it was TSNP, but they changed their company, so now the ticker symbol is HMBL. But this is the stock chart that I was able to capitalize so well on. And I was so familiar with it because if you count 1, 2, 3 breakouts, and I was able to watch it for a month, and when I made my big money, I bought this breakout and I held, and I basically bought it and sold all the way up to the top, and it was a great trade for me. Over $250,000 in these 4 days of buying and selling this breakout, and it was a great trade. OZSC was also a really good one. The stock was trading a billion shares per day, down near a penny. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3 huge breakouts went all the way to 50 cents. And it was just a great trading opportunity because it was trading so much volume, and it was a great trade. And now getting into window, which is a Max Euphoria pattern. And this stock was known to be really sketchy, so I was very short bias on it. And I actually ended up shorting it this day at 10 for a really nice gain, and it tanked almost 50% within 2 days. And then it held up and did it again. And I used the same mindset that, hey, it had 2 big red days, so I think it's going to have 2 big red days again after going straight up. And it tanked, almost another 50%. And then it did it one more time, and it tanked again another 50%. So it did the same pattern 3 times in a row. And on this day, I was so sure. I had my first 6-figure short on this around the end of February, and that was a really, really good trade, a lot of fun. And now this, I had to show you guys. I actually didn't even show you in the Excel because I was so excited talking about all the winners. But MMNFF was actually my biggest loss ever. And I got absolutely obliterated on it, guys. I lost 367,000 or 81 times my average loser. And as you can see, my second biggest loss is only 12 times my average loser. But this stock, I was having a great week. It was February 11th, and I just bought so many shares because I thought it was going to bounce because it was a perfect euphoria pattern of straight up. And I did short it actually at 130 and I covered it at like 80 or 90 cents, and then I bought it down here into the support. But guess what? This isn't an exact science, guys. It doesn't happen every single time. And this stock absolutely crushed my soul, and I ended up taking the loss somewhere down here in the 50 to 60 area from around 75, 80 entry with way too much size, and I absolutely got crushed. And the stock actually never ended up really bouncing much until they got bought out by some company, and they had a little spike, but not even over the high. So like I wouldn't even have had a chance to hold it and get out for break even. So that's why my number one rule is to cut losses quickly and not just hold and hope for these to come back, because I'd still be holding MMNFF to this day, praying it would come back. And now getting into mindset, that takes such an emotional toll on you to just hold and hope. And your emotions have to be in check. You have to be winning and making good trades, because if you're in a bad mindset, you're absolutely going to make very poor decisions. And once I took this big loss, I really took my pedal off the gas and I sized back down. Actually, this week when I took that $367,000 loss, I still ended up being one of my best weeks ever, over $1 million on the week. And after that, I really took my foot off the gas because I didn't want to think, oh, I have to make this money back right now and do all this. I didn't. I took it very slow and I built myself back up. I built that momentum back up. Something I want to talk about for psychology is, trading's a lot of momentum, just like, basketball. If you guys have watched basketball, you know that if somebody's hot from downtown, they're hitting a lot of threes. Like that's when you'd want to be pushing like a lot of size on your trades because you're really hot, you're in the groove, you're doing really well. But if you can't even make a layup, you're not gonna try to shoot a 3-pointer in the next play. You're gonna have to build your momentum up, and that is very very key. Now something that I want to go back and talk about a little bit is the toll this took on me to go and try so hard. At one point, I was swinging over 70 stocks, and I was, in my day trading account, had another 5 to 10 stocks overnight, and I was day trading 10 stocks, and I just wasn't, exercising. I wasn't eating well, and that's one regret that I have because it really destroyed my body and my mind, and it was very very tough after the market was over just to relax because I was so into it and I just felt so, piss poor after this. I had to really relax for 3 months and really, detox from all of this because I'd been going hard all of 2020 as well, and all of 2019 and all of 2018 and all of 2017. And I only started with a few $1,000s in 2017, and I saved up for my valet job, and I got enough money in 2018 to start with 30K, and from there it was still ups and downs for 6, 7, 8 months. But after around 20 months, I had my first very consistent month, and then the rest is history from there, and it's just building myself up again and again and taking a little bit more size and really pushing myself, to be one of the best. I wanted to, my goal I've always had is I want to be really good at something really hard, because if I love it, I know that I'll be able to put everything I got into it. And that's what I've done in 2021, these first 6 months. And I just blew away like what I thought was even possible. I really haven't, seen anybody do this publicly in the OTC land making this magnitude of money. Now Tim Grittani, he's up 13 million. He's, a god trader, but he's been just really consistent over the years. I just went really, really hard for 6 months, and it takes a toll on you. So I really hope you guys like this video, and if you do like it, please, please, please subscribe, and please drop some likes. If this video gets over 1,000 likes, I'll think about making another video because I actually enjoy doing this. I haven't made one about trading in a very long time. Maybe we can talk about, the last 3 months and, rewarding myself. So I hope to see you guys next time. And if you guys want to follow more and learn more about me, I'll have some links below to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Later.